month is dead and you should try this instead. Stop starting budgets this year. I did that for many years, and finally, about 10 years ago, I started using this spreadsheet religiously every year. I've iterated on it every year since, made it a little bit better, and now you're looking at the latest, greatest 2024 version of my finance tracker. It's not a budget, it's something you're actually going to use rather than just look at and admire the charts. So in our setup sheet, we just need a few pieces of information. I've got a sample filled out here with a starting balance of $5,000, whatever's in the bank today, and then an income account column. So where am I getting money from? Expense accounts, where is it going? And payment methods, how are we going to get it there? Once we have that, and I've used name ranges, as you can see up here in the top left for all these, I've got an income, expense, and payment named ranges, as well as the accounts named range for both income and expense. And I'll show you why we did that right over here. This is the transaction sheet. This is the meat and potatoes. This is all you really need to start tracking your finances. Now, my wife and I do this jointly. We are shared on the same sheet every year. We can both use the mobile app, which is pretty great for this purpose. It's why I chose Google Sheets and not Excel for this finance tracker, because it just makes it easy to share and easy to do on the go mobily. So I'm not going to come back here on my computer with receipts and stuff. I'm not that old school. I'm going to be out at the store and pop in whatever I just spent on the mobile app. So it is super easy to do that here, and let me walk you through the columns. The first few are self-explanatory. So we got date, and you can double-click if you're on a desktop, but it's date validation, so it needs to be a valid date over here. The transaction, just where you bought stuff from, the amount, obviously, how much you spent, and then the category. What category is this? So let me put this back to a expense category, and the category pulls from the list of expense and income categories over here on our setup sheet. So that's why we named it accounts, so that we could pretty easily just grab some data validation. And I'll show you right here. It's a drop down from a range from that accounts range that we made. So it pulls in all those categories, and it'll update automatically if you take out or add to either of those columns. Same thing over here with the payment method. Anything you've got on payment methods on the setup sheet will populate in here. And then the balance will pull from the starting balance on this first line, and then every subsequent line we will check to see whether or not the category is income or expense, and then either add or subtract to the running balance after we do that. So if I change this to other income, then you can see this balance goes up by $125 rather than down. Let's go back to grocery, and it goes back down. Okay. The type is used for classification in some of our analysis. This is just doing the same exact thing. If this is income, like a paycheck, this will say income. And if it's not, it'll say expense. Same thing on the month. We're using this for classification. And this is just taking the date over here and returning the text in the format of the abbreviated month. Now over here in columns I and J, we've got reconcile and clear. And we've got these check boxes, which do some conditional formatting depending on what's going on here. Also, you'll see there's a number adding up here. What is this all about? I operate under the assumption that I'm going to pay off my credit card on time, every month, every other week, whatever. I go in and I pay this so I don't have to pay interest. And in doing so, what I'll do is I'll log into Amazon. I've got a Chase Amazon card, and let's just say the balance on the account is $104.61. And so I plug that in up here in H1. And then what I need to do is I need to find the Amazon transactions, which add up to $104.61. So I'll go through here and I'll check this, and this will just count down, and it'll show me, hey, I've got $84.16 left, and hey, what do you know, $84.16. Once I've selected all of the transactions here, which account for the current balance, this will turn green, indicating that has happened. I will then go in and click pay the card. And if I cannot find a matching number of transactions, well, I've not put something in here. That's the whole point of this, is I'm putting every transaction into this sheet. So if I've forgotten, if I've left something out, I can then go in and add that transaction in here. Once we've paid the credit card, then we can click the clear check boxes. And once we've clicked both reconcile and clear, everything is back to squared up. You'll see that these transaction lines are entirely grayed out. Let me show you one more thing that is unique to my bank, but perhaps you have an account that does this as well. You'll notice that I have these ATM payment methods. This is my bank card, and at my bank, if I use the card for 15 transactions a month, I get a little bonus interest at the end of the month. What the bank does, for every transaction I use my ATM card for, it rounds up to the nearest dollar and deposits that round up amount into my savings account. It's a weird thing, but that's basically why I have these two counters up here. This first one counts the payment methods if it's equal to ATM, so it makes sure that I have within the current month, so I'm checking if it's the current month, makes sure that I have had 15 ATM transactions. The second column makes sure that there are 15 round up transactions. So I will go through, and as I reconcile my credit card, I'll also reconcile my bank account to make sure that I'm seeing transactions like this 74-cent round up amount. And I'll just show you what happens when I've got 15 of each of these. Let's just drag this down, a few more. Boom, it'll turn green. So I've got 15 round up transactions. I've only got one ATM though, so something's wrong. So I'll know that I've missed some transactions from my ATM card. But let me show you what happens if I just go plug some more of these in. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, and the reason, of course, it's not counting them is because I've got this January 2nd, 2024 date. So it is checking to see if it's the current month. So now we'll put in current month, drag that down. Now I've got 8, drag all these down, 14, 15. So once I have both of those, I know I'm golden and I don't have to worry about finding a couple more ATM transactions for the month. Again, that's just something that's unique to my bank account, but if you need something like this, then you can keep those, and if not, you can just delete those. Let's talk about this Analyze tab. We have a few pieces of information front and center. We've got a running balance. This is the last line in the F column over here on our transaction sheet, which, as you recall, simply keeps a running balance of our bank account. So we've got that piece of info right here front and center. I've got $4,316.21 in the bank account. Beneath this, we've got a chart which charts our income and expenses for the entire year. So it's a simple pie chart. Here's how much I've expensed and here's how much I've earned. So right here, I am actually earning less than I have spent. This is bad. We want this income to be bigger. And in fact, I've got the colors inverted. Usually we would have the income as green and the expenses as red, whatever. Over here, we have a pivot table, and this is bringing in all of the transactions, the category totals for each transaction amount, and we're doing it by month. So we can see that grand total in the month of January, we have 2,200. And in the month of February, as you can see, we do have an issue here, which we'll have to use some filtering. We've got the income columns as well highlighted here. So we don't want the income categories, we just want the expense categories. So what I have up here is a slicer that I've inserted, and I'm going to take the blanks out and the income out. And now we are left with just the expense categories. And you'll see up here we've got 74 cents without an expense category. So we can go find that if we want to and properly categorize it. Down here, we have some bar charts, some amounts by month totals. So we've got January, February, March, December. And same thing, these charts will be affected if I just did income here. Then you'll see we have just the income showing. So 1,500 February, 250 in December. And we can filter out expenses. Same thing over here. We've got by category, so we can actually see paychecks versus other income. Let me take the income out, put the expenses back in, and you can see expenses by category and by month, the grand total amount. Hope this has been helpful for you in making your own finance tracker. Hope you give this a shot. It's been really instrumental in my own personal finances. If you want to skip the building and just pick up the one that I have already built, then you can do that in the link in the description below. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. You're awesome. Have a great one. Bye.